folks. It is truly one of the most exciting evenings and most pleasurable for the Board of Education, the swearing in of our newest student member of the board and swearing out of our retiring student member. I'd like to acknowledge a few people in the audience. First, we have Boy Scout Troop 1450. They're here working on their citizenship badge, so maybe they'd like to stand up so we can just acknowledge you. And we are honored to have Delegate Charles Barkley here. And we have Mr. Evan Greenfield representing Senator Susan Lee. And we have a number of former Board of Education members, student member Justin Kim, former board member Shirley Brandman, former board member Bruce Goldenson, former SMOB Allison Serino, and now principal at Westland Middle School. The very first student member of the board, David Naiman. And our former leader of our student governments, Karen Crawford. It is now my pleasure to welcome our clerk of the court, Barbara Micklejohn, who will administer the oath of office to the 38th student member of the board, Mr. Eric Guerci. Eric?
What I'm going to have you do is I'll have you raise your right hand. I'll say aye, you'll say aye, then you'll say your name, and then you'll continue to repeat after me. Okay? I, name,
Eric Guerci,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will
be
faithful and bear true allegiance
to
the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof. And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Montgomery County Public School Board student member, according to the Constitution and laws of this state. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Micklejohn, thank you so much for joining us. And now, Eric, I would offer you the opportunity to make a statement on the occasion of your swearing in.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Bowers, my new colleagues, and to all whom I would like to thank for being here tonight. Tonight there are certainly a myriad of emotions circling through my head, but I would like to start by thanking so many individuals and groups in my life whose support has made this possible. First, I would like to thank the board and board staff for their warm welcome. I'm fortunate to be viewed as an equal on this board, and I'm privileged to be in an extremely encouraging environment that I know will help me grow and learn in this upcoming year. As the 38th student member on the board, I'm indebted to the 37 SMOBs who have come before me. These men and women are some of the smartest and most dedicated advocates to have ever walked our nation. I'd like to thank, in particular, the 36th SMOB and longtime mentor, Justin Kim, for being here tonight. Furthermore, I would like to recognize my campaign staff, especially to Matt Post, for helping me craft media strategies late into the night and in order to reach out to students across our great county. A longtime student advocate, Calvin Ye, is also here tonight, who is a constant source of strength throughout the taxing and at times nerve-wracking process which I went through. My fellow finalist, Ratchet Agarwal, a rising senior at Richard Montgomery High School, ran a remarkable campaign that he can be very proud of, and I know I can count on him to be a resilient advocate for student issues in MCPS. Many of my teachers and administrators are here tonight, coming out of the comforts of summer to once again display the unwavering support that I've received throughout my educational career. I am constantly reminded of the fact that our amazing staff members are the backbone of our success in MCPS. It is our job as a board to ensure that our staff is given the resources that they need to continue to succeed at incredibly high levels for decades to come. Of course, my friends and family provided constant reassurance through stressful weeks on the campaign trail. My family has instilled in me the values of hard work and public service through educational leadership. My 3 late grandparents all gave back to their communities through honorable careers in public education, and my parents moved to our county many years ago to ensure that I was given the best education possible. Most importantly, I need to acknowledge every single MCPS student, whether they voted for me or not, for engaging me in conversations, asking me meaningful questions, and letting me into their lives to see our diverse county through a countless number of perspectives. While the path ahead was never clear, these students continued to fuel me with inspiration. The campaign over the last few months was truly an unteachable experience. It is because of these experiences and our students that I'm so eager for what lies ahead. While this seat can only fit one person, it is my job to speak for the 154,000 voices. You will likely hear me posing questions. How is this benefiting the students? How can we bring more student voices to this table? How can we deliver more value for our students in a more cost-effective manner? This is what MCPS students sent me here to do, and entrusted with this seat, I will continue advocating until I know that I've given it my all. Working together, I know that this board can accomplish anything. We can continue our brilliant record of coming together to lead the rest of our country and set an example of what a world-class education truly is. It is with this compelling need that we continue to act to make sure that future generations will inherit a school system with a transformed hope for public education, one which champions unity and communication, yet continues to shine with its unbound potential. I have no doubt that MCPS will continue as the leader of this country on a march towards a brighter future for every one of its students. While we are all here for a unique reason, at the end of the day, what brings us together time and time again is our passion for empowering our vibrant student body, while making sure that they are equipped with the tools to give back to our ever-changing community. Of course, I would be remiss without acknowledging that I'm stepping into enormous shoes. Dahlia has shown us what utter dedication to public service is, while staying humble and epitomizing charm. I know that I will miss her smile that brightens up this room, but Dahlia, thank you many times over, and I know that your future is so incredibly bright. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, I have a few items to present to Dahlia on this evening of her retirement. Yes, the traditional bag of goodies, but most importantly, the parking sign. And I hope that you will put it on your wall at Harvard to make sure everyone knows that Miss Pa is reserved for Miss Pa. There's also a photo album and a portfolio and a mug, an all-important coffee mug for at Harvard. But I really thank you for your service this year. Your goodies, and now you have the opportunity to make a statement.
I would love to say some remarks. I love the whole night with great stories and all the funny experiences we've gone through as a board this year. But I'll try to keep it brief.
Hold on to your sign for me.
Oh, okay. Roll.
Oh, no, she wants to take a picture.
For the Twitter.
For the Twitter.
So, first First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone who came today to the swearing in, swearing out ceremony. And of course, congratulations to Eric once again. And I know you're going to be an amazing student member of the board. This year has been an incredible experience, to say the least. And I feel so blessed and so honored to have been elected as the student member of the board and treated like an equal on this board, and really created friendships with you guys. It's been such an honor to have been part of the effort, the MCPS effort to be the best school system in the nation, to provide the best education for the students. And just speaking from the heart, being a student in MCPS for the past 13 years of my life, I can say what a difference it's made being part of this public school education system and really embracing all the teachers and their wisdom and making sure that every step of the way you're very grateful for what you've learned each grade level. And just like every grade level, I'm very grateful for what I learned this year on the board. So continuing on. So this year has passed by pretty quickly, and every year it feels the same way. Chris, we were talking earlier how each year is just so quick, and when you're getting to know the board, it's time to say goodbye. But at the same time, I feel like we've accomplished so much as a board this year, and we did have quite a rough year, I'd say, budget-wise, some of the issues that came up, and there were a lot of important decisions to be made. And just bringing a couple of them up, the calendar, bell times, and of course the superintendent search. So, and of course Park as well, that's another one that's been looming over everyone's head. But just speaking from the heart, I think what makes this Board of Education so special, and why I appreciate this experience so much, is the fact that we all bring different experiences to the table. And just really quickly, I'd like to give thank yous to each of you guys. So Pat, I've said this to everyone I've met when I say, when you look up the word dedication in the dictionary, it says Patricia O'Neill.
Thank you.
Because your 17 years of service to this board has provided so much wisdom, and it's been so insightful hearing the history of some of the decisions that have gone on before my term on this board. So thank you so much for that. Mike, thank you, first of all, for serving as a principal. And principals are so important in our county, and we're so indebted to the leadership at the schools. And I know I'm very indebted to Ms. Barkley, who is my principal at Roberto Clemente Middle School, Dr. Joseph, who is also the principal at Clemente, Mr. Derby, and of course Mr. Kutzos, who's president of MCAP now. But Mike, I truly have to say that whenever there was a decision that came from the heart, I feel like you always asked the questions that everyone was wanting to ask around the table, and sometimes it seems like the decisions we make are so data-driven, so numbers-driven. What can we do around the budget? But the questions you've always asked, and I feel like we're always on the same wavelength, is what's best for students in the long run, and you really know what it means being a principal, and I really truly appreciate all of your wisdom this year. Judy, thank you so much. I think besides being a board member, you've just been an inspiration. I know you've gone through many surgeries and a lot of, it's been a tough year, but being at these board meetings until 11 o'clock at night, it's really taxing. And you're such an inspiration to keep going, and what it really means to be an advocate for education and being at all the board meetings, and I really appreciate that. And when I grow up, or when I'm older, I hope to be like you, because I'd like to think of myself already grown up. But Chris, your laughter and your smile always brightened up every single board meeting, and I will never forget some of the conversations we've had around the VAC, the conversations we've had about alternative education, and I do remember this one board meeting when we were very together on what we wanted for our students at alternative ed, and I think that is one conversation that's something I'll take with me the rest of my life, and you've really taught me a lot about what it means to stay true to the subjects that you care about and push and advocate for the issues that you care about. because in the end you will be heard. And so thank you for that. Phil, I feel like everyone, all the SMOBs before me know that you're the silent jokester of the board. But it is so true, and getting to know you this year, it's really been such a blessing to hear all of your wisdom on the board, and being able to work together on the policy committee. It's truly been very inspiring to have all of the advice that you've given to me. And last but not least, Rebecca. Being a seatmate, I think we share a certain bond and sitting together at all the board meetings. But similarly, I feel like we were also very much on the same page. And when it came to some of the issues that pertained directly to students, we ended up voting the same way a lot of the times. And that's just because I feel like we connected and we really have the same attitude of how to best approach some of these decisions, how to best approach some of these issues. And I truly appreciate all the advice you've given me as seatmates and as a board member as well. And to Jill, so we're missing Jill tonight, but I hope you're having a safe trip. And thank you so much for making me feel like the second newest board member on the board, since she was sworn in January or December. But Jill has brought, I feel like, a new life to this board. Not that you all are not lively, but I feel like coming straight off of the campaign trail, she brought something that really kept us all focused and made us remember why we're here. And that urgency, I feel like every time she asks a question, I really appreciate the urgency in her tone and the urgency of what we need to do for our students. So just quickly going around, continuing the thank yous, Dr. Zuckerman, Dr. Sadem, and Dr. Navarro. Your expertise and all of the work that executive staff has done for all the presentations at each board meeting. And I always ask so many, like at the board as a whole, we always ask so many questions. But thank you so much for everything this year. Suzanne, Roland, Laura, and Kathy are happily enjoying retirement, but Becky and Joanne and Martha at the board office, thank you so much, and it's been really great being seatmates as well. And then, of course, I'd like to thank my family for their continuous support, not only throughout this year, but last year as well during the campaigning process. So my mom is here, as my grandma, my father, and my little brother Chris, and my sister. My older sister couldn't be here tonight because she's working at the hospital, but she's here in spirit, and she says, "Congratulations, Eric." And then really quickly, I'm not sure how this year would have gone without the support of my teachers. You're being in and out of school for these board meetings, these presentations, it really takes a toll, and it's hard to keep up, but I can't even imagine how hard it is for teachers to try to fit all that knowledge when I'm not even there in the classroom. So thank you so much for Mr. Seymour, who is my history teacher, and Ms. Chin, who is my environmental science teacher, for coming today and always supporting me throughout the year. Ms. Crawford, thank you so much for inspiring me with student leadership. And of course, Richie Yarrow and David Ademo as well, and Ms. Rossini. And Calvin. Calvin, we go way back to middle school, and thank you so much for being such a good friend. And last but not least, I would like to thank Mr. Bowers for being here for so long, 37 years, and then for sticking around for one more year. I think we can all say that we're so indebted to you just being here and keeping the school system going. So thank you so much. And I guess one last point that I'd like to make is this wasn't an easy year. There was a lot changing in Annapolis. There was a lot going on this legislative session. And me and Richie, we traveled dozens of times to Annapolis to advocate for some of these bills. And I think what I've really been able to take away from this experience is that you really have to stand up for and speak and really encourage others, persuade others to see your way and see what is best for students. Because if you're not constantly reminding and constantly pushing for the issues that are important to students, then sometimes the message can get muddled, it can get lost. But all those trips to Annapolis and lobbying, that's been an experience as well. And I'd like to say good luck with next year's budget. Good luck with the superintendent search. And I'm wishing everyone the best. And really quickly, I would also like to thank Miss Shirley Brandman for being here, and I know we've had a lot of great discussions in the car ride to and from to Ocean Cities from many, many conventions, and also our former superintendent, Dr. Starr, and both Dr. Starr and Ms. Brandman truly just embraced me when I was a new board member and really made it a very easy transition. So going forward, I owe a lot to Montgomery County Public Schools, more than I'd ever be able to express in this short time period. But I would like to say once again, congratulations, Eric. You are the epitome of a student advocate. You're out there, you've already been working since Election Day. You met with Delegate Carr yesterday, and you're really hitting the ground running, so congratulations. I wish you all the best with being a board member and also with junior year. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dahlia. I'm now going to offer my colleagues the opportunity to give remarks and to Mr. Bowers, but I'm going to begin. First, I'd like to say thank you to the students of Montgomery County Public Schools for electing such incredible student members of the board. I mean, every year we, have this opportunity and to work so closely with just absolutely outstanding student board members, and every one of them, the dedication that they have and the enthusiasm that they bring is truly wonderful. Eric, welcome aboard. The little bit that we've had to interact, I know that you're going to be in that great fraternity, sorority of student members tradition, bringing so much to the table. And to his parents, I say thank you for lending him to us for this year, and we promise we'll take good care of him. Dahlia, the other night I said you exhibit such graciousness, such intelligence. You were so sweet, and you stood your own, you had your own opinions, yet you did it in such a lovely manner. I know that Harvard is really lucky to be having you, and that you will go far. And I thank you for just being an incredible colleague this past year. So with that, I'm going to turn it to Mr. Durso.
To Eric, welcome. I had the good fortune to visit Eric at BCC not too long after his election. It was like walking around with I don't know, LeBron James or some entertainer or politician. The high regard that your classmates have for you, the staff, teachers, administrators, it really was very encouraging to see that kind of affection for you. The old-timers, of whom I'm a charter member, speak sometime about individuals who've been here before. You, as well as a young lady to your left, I just can't say how impressed I am with your grasp of situations, with your knowledge, with how savvy you are in dealing with people. Your parents have every right to be extraordinarily proud of you. You mentioned that you look forward to being an equal member of this board, and you really are. And I hope maybe before your term is up that we are successful in having full voting rights for the Montgomery County student member of the board. But your opinion is important. I think most of us feel that we have a pretty good idea of what goes on in schools, but you're there every day, and so your voice is extraordinarily important. So I look forward to this next year working with you. Dahlia, as I look around this table, I think just about every one of us are parents of daughters, and daughters are always very special. Mr. Barclay and I trade war stories on occasion, probably most of which should just be listed as war stories. But you've kind of been our adopted daughter. And I mean that in every positive sense of the word. I remember talking to your principal, Mr. Koutsos, upon coming to visit you at Clarksburg, and he said that I would be impressed. He was right. I mentioned the other evening what impresses me, among many things about you, is that you are not impressed with yourself. And you probably would have a right to have a bit of a stilted opinion of yourself with all you've accomplished, and you're just Dahlia, and that's extraordinarily important, and I don't think you will ever lose that. Your work ethic, your sincerity, your grasp of issues. We will talk in the closed session next door, and we come out here, and I can tell you, when you have something to say, it really resonates, and we listen. So as Ms. O'Neill mentioned, I suspect you are ready for Harvard. I hope Harvard is ready for you. And I wish you well. You are one of those individuals that I think we can safely say, whatever you choose to do, you will be able to do it, and you will be successful. I feel honored that our paths have crossed, and I wish you the best.
Dr. Dodd.
She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. She's not only a lovely person, but a very intelligent person, and it has been a pleasure to have her here on the board because she's very discerning. She's heard our discussions, and she'll come up at the end and she'll say something that is so important, tying us all together. And she's unfailingly polite about the way she does things, and she's cogent, and her observations are very timely. She epitomizes what it is to be a student board member, and as you mentioned already, she's an example for the rest of the state to give full powers to the student board member. And I know that she's been working on that, and other board members before that have gone to Annapolis to work on it. I don't know why this seems to be so difficult for some people, but she certainly has shown us that a student board member can do any of the activities that the adult board members do. And in addition to that, I did go to the nominating convention, and I heard Eric there, and Dahlia spoke with them. There were some changes in the schedule because of, I don't know, things happen. But they were so adoring of Dahlia. They listened to everything she said, and they agreed with all of the changes that she suggested for them. This was at Montgomery, at Watkins Mill High School. So I think that, as so far everyone has said, you will be very, very successful at Harvard, and it's been such a pleasure to have you here on the board with us. And Eric, you come from a great tradition with MCR. We know that they have produced terrific board members and terrific students. Even those who are not board members, they still have shown so much leadership in the school system. And I know that you're going to do, you've already spent some time with us, and you've seen us working, sometimes well, sometimes not. And I know that you're going to be an excellent board member, and we're very glad to have you. Congratulations, and we will miss you, Dahlia.
Mr. Barclay?
So, Mr. Durso said something really important that is wonderful as you are, Dahlia. You are very much a modest young woman. And I just wanted to thank your parents for clearly having done an amazing job in raising your daughter. And I know that parents entrust their children to the school system, sometimes for 13 years, sometimes for less, depending on when you move here. And there's a lot of trust that you give to us in helping to raise your children. And I just want to express my appreciation first to your parents, because it is wonderful to see a young lady who not only is intelligent, not only is graceful, but clearly understands how to speak up for those who don't have a voice. And as you mentioned, Dahlia, one of the things that I think you and I shared and bonded over immensely was how you stood up for students in alternative programs. And I know that can seem selfish in terms of that being one of the projects or issues that I'm really concerned about, but it was so important to hear you be a voice for those who don't usually have a voice, or many of us don't always want to even hear from. And that is not something that you have to do, but it clearly is something that you choose to do. And to make that choice is clearly a reflection of your wonderful character. I find these days always really difficult because, as you said, we're just getting to this point where we really know each other and feel like there's a true friendship and camaraderie that's been built, and then you go off to college. And then it's email or whatever. But I hope that this board and this executive team and all of the people who help you as a board member and work with you as a board member have helped you to see way beyond what you will do in college, but just to understand that ultimately we need to help each other no matter who we are or where we are and what our station is. And I believe that you so much have that in your DNA. And I'll just say thank you for that. To Eric, you got some big shoes to fill, buddy. But it's actually very exciting, and Eric is one of our board members who will have the unique position of being a board member in their junior year as opposed to their senior year. That is a significant accomplishment in and of itself for your colleagues in the secondary schools to have seen the confidence in you and your message and your vision to elect you to represent them is extremely meaningful, and I hope that you appreciate that as much as they appreciate you. And I will get to know your parents. We do this over the year, right? And look forward to our ability to work together. And I will say, and Eric had the opportunity to see the board in action in a very difficult situation and tough conversations, but what I learned in that and in his presence was the grace that clearly you have, and I think your colleagues and your peers see in you. And my only advice is to stay true to your beliefs. This is a very, very, very difficult job, and it becomes that much more difficult when you have to be a full-time student also. And as Mr. Durso said, it could be easy to become full of yourself, and I think that your predecessor has shown us, and it comes up all the time, but I think Dahlia has shown us a particular way of not doing that and really being true to the privilege that you have to be here representing the thousands of students in this system. So I am really looking forward to our year together. I hope that you have the opportunity, as Dr. Daka said, to advocate for and help us win full voting rights for student board members, because you have joined a group of incredible people who have advocated for children and for students in an amazing way. So to Dahlia, I say goodbye, or see you later, maybe better, because surely we'll stay in touch. And to Eric, I say welcome, and really do look forward to our working together.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman?
So, Eric and Dahlia, I'll say that you are following a very, very rich tradition of former student members of the board. And I think that both of your remarks exemplify what's great about Montgomery County and what's great about the students that are our student leaders and our students around the county. The folks that they vote for and the students that they vote for and send to us is really a tribute to our students and a tribute to yourselves and a tribute to the former SMOBs who have graced this body. Sometimes I thought to myself that perhaps we would be better off if we had 7 SMOBs and one adult member. Eric, I've looked a little bit in terms of, we haven't had a chance to really sit down and have a long chat, but I looked a little bit about your platform and some of the things that you've talked about in terms of focusing on testing and homework and stress on students, and those are all really, truly important issues, and I really look forward to working on those with you over the years, in the next year, maybe 2. And I think that you will I think you understand that you bring the student perspective on these issues. As Mr. Barkley said, that is truly important. And never forget that you're here for the students, and I know you won't forget that. And the perspective that you will bring will be valuable, as it has been valuable from all our previous SMOBs. Dahlia, I'm not sure what to say. This has been an interesting year. Probably more interesting than other years in terms of some of the challenges that we've been through. But you've exhibited wit and grace and charm. You've always been insightful. You've been prepared. And I'm not sure you realize some of the impact you've had on other board members. I mean, I was thinking, there was a commercial years and years ago from E.F. Hutton. And the commercial was, it's probably before your time, but it was, the theme was, when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen. And I think Mr. Durso touched on it. You don't say a whole lot, but when you talk and when you contribute, I think everybody stops and listens and pays attention, because you have added so much to the conversation at this table. So I just want to say it has been an honor being on the board with you. Good luck at Harvard. I know you're going to do great things.
Ms. Mendrowski?
So, one of the things about going last is, everybody's pretty much touched on everything. So I'm going to associate myself with all of the words of my colleagues, and just say that you both already, even Eric, I've been fortunate to know you a little bit, and our students couldn't ask for better advocates, so I think that's really exciting. So I'm going to start with Eric. I couldn't be more excited than to working with you. It's been a thrill really getting to know you already. Like I said, I'm fortunate you're close friends with my friend Justin, and so I have had the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, and I think we've got some exciting times ahead of us, and I'm really looking forward to that. Your incredible enthusiasm, I believe, is something to be reckoned with. A better communicator, I do not know. Your passion and your energy are absolutely second to none. You already have blown me away with your full of ideas and the outreach that you've done, and one of the things we talk quite a bit about as a board and as a county is community outreach, And as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to community outreach, you are a rock star. I'm going to tell a little story. So I've been on the board for 2.5 years now, and we met for lunch one day, Justin, Eric, and myself in my neighborhood. And we're sitting outside, and this young man walks by, and old enough you couldn't tell if he was a student necessarily or not, but he's walking by, and we're sitting outside, and he says, Board of Education. He's like, I voted for you. He's like, can I take your picture? Justin and I are like, what? And I'm like, no, him. I was like, dude, that never happens to me. So I think you will be somebody who, is out there, people are going to gravitate towards, and hopefully you will really do a great job, as I know that you will, representing the voices of the students as the way Dahlia has. It's every year I'm blown away by the work that our student board members do, and I look forward to being blown away. Despite what people might say or want Montgomery County to think, this board is an extended family. And I, for one, have to say I'm very excited to have you as a new member of it, and I look forward to thinking of you as a second, third son and, second daughter over here. So, so welcome. For Dahlia, again, there's just, everybody's already touched on everything. There's just not enough ways to express it. But so I went out on a little limb and wrote you a poem. And though it is not going to be nearly as eloquent as Dr. Well, right, okay, as Dr. Daka put it. When she started speaking, I was like, oh no, I got nothing. But I'm just going to give it a go, so bear with me. But, okay, so.
Is this Rose's over?
Yeah, pretty much. By the way, a little sing-songy, but it's been a while since I've done this. So you came on board about a year ago. How this year would have gone, no one could know. But you buckled in and made yourself a home, added joy and insight we otherwise might not have known. Tough times and big issues, can't go through them all without some tissues. But I think it's fair to say that not much brings you down. Your heart, your dedication, and your smile are well known around this town. Needless to say, being on this board isn't always easy. But you tolerate our quirks and somehow make it breezy. And even though there have been times we haven't all agreed, you argued your perspective with grace and hardly ever even got peeved. Your grace and style, topped only by your brains, will no doubt in my mind take Harvard by the reins. So now it's time to say goodbye, bittersweet to say the least. You have my cell phone, should you need it, for when this world feels like a beast. I wish you, Dahlia, all the luck in the world, and this family will be with you forever. But as successful as you have been here with us this year, so shall you be in every endeavor. We will miss you. Mr. Bowers?
Thank you. This is a wonderful evening. It's always a time to both welcome our new student board member, so welcome and congratulations, Eric, and to thank our outgoing board member and congratulate her for not only everything she's done, but what she's going to go into next year. And so it's also a time, and it's already been mentioned, for us to recognize all of those other student board members that went before these two. And it is an incredible list of student board members. And Dahlia said that this is the end of my 37th year. So my first year was when David Naiman was the first student board member. So I've had the privilege of being here with every one of them. And of course, Dahlia, you were supposed to be my last student board member. But Eric, I am looking forward to working with you. Dahlia, there's been lots of comments made about your values and your characteristics, and I'm not going to repeat all of them, but one that sticks out for me is your humility. And the fact that I think that has allowed you to be such an effective board member. and building relationships with all of your student peers, with your adult peers on the board, the respect that everyone gives you. And again, I think a lot of that grows from the humility that you show. And it goes well beyond that. All of the staff in MCPS have a great deal of respect for you and the way you have managed yourself as a board member and the leadership that you've provided. And it has been mentioned that when you said something, people listened and they considered what you were saying, and they really appreciated what you said. And a lot of that was because you did spend so much time talking to other students and really representing them well. So again, I appreciate everything you've done, and I want to thank you for that. And Eric, I just want to let you know that for the next year, yes, I will be here another year, but Maria and Andy and Kim and all the folks that work for them are here to support you. And so they too are just a phone call away or an office away. So we're here to help you be successful. And so I know the board members all will try to adopt you and try to, give you all the advice. But to let you know, we're here also to work with you and to help you also. So congratulations and welcome.
And now, before we adjourn to the auditorium for a reception in honor of Dahlia and Eric, I would like to ask Dahlia's family and Eric's family to stand so that we can give you a round of applause and thank you for sending us such incredible students to work with. This concludes our swearing in and swearing out, and I welcome everyone to a reception across the hall. Thank you.